NCIS actress Pauley Perrette was assaulted by a homeless man with mental health issues near her Hollywood Hills home. Now, according to reports, the actress, best known for her role on the TV series NCIS, said she was attacked by a very psychotic homeless man near her Hollywood Hills home on Thursday in an incident that she described on Twitter and in a subsequent interview. She says that he grabbed me so forcefully, pinned my arm, punched me in the nose, forehead repeatedly, telling me he was going to kill me. Then he showed me how he was going to kill me. He kept repeating his name, William. Don't forget that. Now, authorities thankfully did find this guy and arrest him. He's David Merck. He's 45 and was taken into custody on suspicion of felony battery. Now, this story is really interesting because it's the most unsurprising thing that I've heard in this area of Los Angeles.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was going to say, this is a pretty surprising story.
No,
turns out his name's not even William.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, this story, like...
First of all.
So, I don't live in the Hollywood Hills. I'm not rich, right? But I live near it. I'm Hollywood Hills adjacent.
Okay.
And I was just having a conversation with my friends about this. The number of people that are on the streets right now who have severe mental health issues it's astronomical. Like, you can't go half a block without seeing at least a few. And they're aggressive. They approach you. There was one time when there was a guy with like a belt that he kept like spinning around. He was approaching me as I was running. Like, this is becoming a huge problem in Los Angeles. And I don't know if and when anyone's ever going to address it, but it needs to be addressed.
So in this case, it's definitely a homeless person?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not like a guy trying to frame William?
No.
Okay. All right.
David.
Now, right. So Los Angeles is the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg is San Francisco.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I mean, I just came back from San Francisco. Anytime you go to San Francisco, they're homeless everywhere, clearly mentally ill, totally out of control. So here's my sense of this, because I was thinking about it in the context of San Francisco. Look, guys, we can't just do things like we've always done, right? So the liberal answer in San Francisco, and hate me if I'm being, too harsh on that, is, oh, okay, live and let live. We don't want to be too harsh on the homeless, et cetera, right? The conservative answer in a lot of other places is, let's go beat them down. Now, for God's sake, they're mentally ill. You're not going to intimidate them, right? You're not going to teach them a lesson, right? That's not the point. So can we actually have a sane policy? So the sane policy would involve spending money. Don't let your head explode, okay? But it would also involve taking away some freedoms. I think we have to be realistic about that. Mm-hmm. There has to be some process by which we decide if someone is mentally ill or not. And if they are mentally ill, we need to provide them some sort of shelter and resources and not let them roam the streets for their good and for our good.
Right, but the issue will be, as it's been in the past, of what to do when that person doesn't want to be there and they're not deemed dangerous. If you're not dangerous, you don't want to be there, what are we supposed to do?
No, but
lock them there?
No, but if a mental health professional has decided they are not dangerous, then I would let them go.
Okay,
right?
but most of these people you're talking about in San Francisco, most of the people here in Los Angeles, they're not dangerous.
Well, but some are, and we don't do
so-
anything about that.
So, look, I of course can't speak for the entire, homeless population in Los Angeles, but when it comes to this guy specifically, authorities said that he had a very long rap sheet. He's self-medicating, probably didn't even know who she was, and then the cop also says he's not going anywhere. So this guy has a history of violence. He's a homeless guy, and we do what we always do with people in these types of conditions. We don't give them the mental health care that they need. We just release them back on the streets, and they are dangerous. They're not in the right state of mind, so there has to be a better solution.
Yeah, I mean, in this specific case, there does. I think you're in it's a really tough call because, again, what we've done in the past. I mean, maybe if we made these shelters, super nice and they got, like some premium channels there, maybe people would stay. But for the most part, they come and they don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. They don't feel, homeless people frequently don't feel safe in the shelters that we have set up.
I live in New York and I've lived there since '87. There's a few homeless guys I've known for at least 15 years. I know them on a first name basis, and so people, one friend of mine, I see him all the time, and I'll be like, hey, what's up, Chris? And people look at me and they're like, well, why are you talking to this person? And how do you know this homeless person's first name? This is like, that's so bizarre to people because they're looked at by so much of society as not even people.
As throwaways.
And they are people, and a lot of them do need care. I think I don't know when it was, but in the 70s or 80s, a lot of mental institutions were shut down in the country. And, you know, there's always going to be, I think, a certain amount of population that is going to have certain levels of mental issues where they might need full-time care. And the homeless guys I know in New York, they don't stay at the shelters because they hate them. They'd rather sleep outside or try to panhandle, make enough money, and stay in like a very like low-end sleazy hotel for the night. So I don't know what the answer is, but
So,
I know the Republicans say more prisons. We need more prisons.
That's clearly not the answer.
Yeah.
So first of all, with the homeless, there's of course a range, right? There's people who are on bad times, then there's the mentally ill, and then there's the violently mentally ill, right? And so those require different solutions. Ooh, that's so hard. We have to think about it. Yes, we have to think about it, right? So you can't just go beat them down and say, okay, problem solved, right? Or we just let them all out of the mental health, facilities. I think Reagan did that in the early 80s mainly, right? Mm-hmm. And so that turned out not to be a great solution, right? So I think the answer isn't that hard. So when I talk about resources, I'm not talking about we make the shelters with plush carpeting, right? And premium channels and direct TV.
If homeless people don't have access to Encore, they won't stay.
Right. No, what I'm talking about is the resources that cops have, that they have a mental health professional with them when they go to deal with homeless people, right? So again, people are like, oh man, that's going to cost a lot of money. Yeah, but it's better than killing them. The only group in the country that is killed when they are unarmed by cops more than black people are the mentally ill, because when they go, the cops deal with them, they won't listen to orders. And what do cops hate? When somebody won't listen to orders and they shoot them dead. No, they're mentally ill, don't shoot, right? So if you brought a mental health professional, I'm not saying you have to have an army of mental health professionals, but have a couple of, and if you're in a big city like San Francisco, Los Angeles, can we get 2, 5, 10 so they can help the cops? And then for the shelters, I'm not talking about making them mansions. I'm talking about having security there, right? So that when someone goes to a shelter, they have peace of mind that they're not going to get robbed. So instead what we have is a shelter where good luck to you. Who cares? You're homeless. You don't count anyway. I gave you a shelter. What more do you want? Well, I don't want to be robbed in the middle of the night. That's why they don't go to the shelter. If they thought they weren't going to get robbed in the middle of the night, maybe they'd stay in the shelter, right? And then, hey, look at that. We treat them like human beings, and then we're not attacked in the middle of the streets. Maybe that's a win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's a tremendous, I mean, I'm for it. It's a lot of money you're talking about. It's a lot of money.
Do we think it's 1% or 1% or 1% of what the Iraq war cost?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do? Give up some drones? I don't think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Those are the choices we have to make.